if you're thinking about taking an environmentally sound vacation, because that's most people right now, most people in America are concerned with their carbon footprint when they travel. Is that not true? Is that not true? Isn't that why we love cruises so much? Because it's an efficient way to get 3,000 morbidly obese people out into the middle of the ocean. Is that not why we're doing it? But they're like CBS News, by the way. Now imagine running this story. I mean, this is kind of hilarious. So CBS News, in the midst of what's going on, where we have one of our presidents is indicted, one of our presidents, Donald Trump, our ex-president, was indicted. Joe Biden is going to be, perhaps dealing with some stuff about the Burisma, the energy company in Ukraine, that's coming out that he had deals with him and his son. We have this real crisis of confidence in our political systems, with our Justice Department maybe acting politically. We have issues all over the place. And CBS has decided that right now the most important thing to focus on is how much methane gas is being used on your trip in the summer. Now, a lot of Americans cannot afford to go on a trip. Now, of course, CBS doesn't cover that. CBS doesn't cover that. They don't cover the fact that there's people that are lining up at food banks because they can't eat. Their children are going to bed hungry. They can't find work. They're living in areas of the country that we've given up on. Rural America, we don't give a shit. Republican, Democrat, whoever. Nobody gives a fuck about any of these. So they're not talking to those people. But they are talking to people, I guess, that are going to take a vacation. Not only are they going to take a vacation, but they have the luxury of thinking about how to do it in an environmentally sound way. CBS News, let's watch this right. And by the way, when you watch this, it is the most insane segment I have seen in a very long time from the media, and that tells you something. Let's watch the good people at CBS News, The Weekender.
This summer, some people are looking for ways to take a vacation while also cutting down on their greenhouse gas emissions.
Who?
The ecotourism market is expected to exceed $331 billion by 2027, according to new research data. Ecotourism can have an impact on where some people choose to visit and how they get there. Let's bring in Tree Minch, a features editor for Discover magazine. Tree, let's talk about some destinations where folks can actually give back to the planet.
I love this, by the way. I love CBS News. They go, is there a way we can do, because we're trying to push this ecotourism thing, is there a way we can do it with a trans person named Tree? Is there a way we can do this segment with a trans person named Tree? They're like, we have a trans person named Sarah. They go, no. We'd like a and no shade to Tree, but it's just very funny. And again, let's watch some of this because it is just very funny, this idea that like ecotourism, which by the way is the most loosely defined thing ever, it's just going to be rich people going to like nice places, and they're going to go, it's ecotourism. They want to lower their carbon footprint. It's glamping. And it's like, okay, they're not primarily concerned with their carbon footprint. They want to take Instagram photos in Montana in a tent. But all right, let's see what Tree has to say.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this whole local movement that we've been seeing as a trend across the country, I think that tourism is an amazing place where it fits in. One of the first places
Tree Mensch.
to think about is things like
Tree's a real mensch.
State parks and county parks that have a wealth of opportunities for amazing destinations to immerse yourself in, but also the money you're spending there, the activities you're doing are typically directly going back into actually sustaining that environment.
Right, so go scuba diving.
And that's under a list of guidelines and understanding that experts and scientists have of watching what's happening in these ecosystems and making sure they're balanced and healthy for everybody that visits, as well as all the creatures and plants that live there.
Well, it's great to know that you can actually do it locally and not spend a lot of money to travel. But let's say you do decide to travel. What are some of the activities that you can look forward to?
Sure. I mean, the list is pretty much endless. You can really cater your interests to local and very eco-friendly destinations. I mean, one example would be the ocean in general.
This is the news, by the way. This is the news in the United States of America. They're telling you can go to the ocean. This is the news. This is CBS News in the United States of America. CBS News has a segment with someone named Tree who is sitting in their room on Zoom telling you that there's something, I don't know if you've heard of it, called the ocean that you can go to. What do they think Americans do on vacations that are so ecologically unfriendly that they don't do every day of their lives. And they're using stock photo. They're using stock photo of a white woman here, I don't know, running her hand on sugar cane while she walks down. Like, these stock photos are very interesting. I don't understand what that's supposed to be. But this whole idea of eco-vacate, like, what is, so they're saying you don't have to fly. I guess you don't have to go to theme parks because they're not eco-friendly. You could go to the ocean. Okay. That's the bit. That's the segment that they're doing. Is that an example of an eco? Keep going with this because I'm curious as to, like, what are these eco-friendly destinations? But aren't most summer destinations like lakes and oceans? Yeah. Isn't most of it ecotourism? Isn't that where everyone goes in the fucking summer? What the hell is going on at CBS? Shout out to Catherine Herridge, though. She's been doing this a long time. Catherine Herridge has been at every network with that frozen face full of Restylane, like, ah. Keep going.
Visit. So, one thing we like to plug folks into are things like there's citizen science opportunities all across the country. A great resource for that is scistarter.org, where essentially, like, you want to go to the ocean, you want to see dolphins. There are actually scientists out there who need the help of everyday citizens who are experiencing the ocean and maybe want to surveying for dolphins. Maybe
they don't need the help of American citizens.
Baby hatchlings go out into the ocean. And there's a network of organizations where
they'll eat. Look, it's pauses for a minute.
With them and you're actually
they're literally telling people that scientists need the help of people to hatch turtles and keep monitor dolphins? What are they doing with all this money? I have to now work as a scientist on my, I have a job. I have a fucking job. I have to go and hatch turtles. First of all, Americans are going to eat the things they find. They're all going into a pot. So this is just the craziest thing ever. You can be a scientist. Scientists need your help. Well, they didn't need your help about the vaccine. They didn't need your help even if you asked a question like, how about you leave it to the experts? But now we're supposed to fucking finger fuck dolphins and hatch turtles? Let's finish this up with Tree.
Science happen and unfold while you're having an amazing experience in paradise often.
What are some of the destinations and activities you should avoid if you're trying to protect the planet?
This is going to be good.
Sure. Yeah. So, it's really going to depend on what environment you are in.
Wouldn't it be great if he goes, having heterosexual sex, or she, I don't know what Tree's identifying as, having heterosexual, or they, this, thing, that, having heterosexual sex and having children and going to church. Those are the things that I think they leave the biggest carbon footprint. Having children in a heterosexual bond of marriage and going to church. Christenings, that would just be treat. That's what I
go to parks, you go to research facilities. They're going to have a list of guidelines, things as simple as stay on the trail, which might sound kind of like simple and something that maybe our curiosity gets the best of us and we want to wander off.
Petito.
Those guidelines that are put in place are actually really dynamic to protect the health of the ecosystem that are there. So following the rules and guidelines that are there are
now CBS is using a bunch of black people who seem lost. There's a bunch of Africans. CBS is now using stock footage of a bunch of Africans whose tour bus has overturned and they're walking around in the bush, in the jungle, trying to figure out. I mean, can CBS not? Who is doing the stock footage over there at CBS? This is crazy.
Activities that you're going to do. When you really hone in on operations and things that are run by locals who live in the community, work there, it's most likely that the money that they're receiving is really going to be put back into the health and the long-term sustainability of that place for their wellness, as well as all the things that live there. So it's really good to just kind of follow those tips.
There's something called disaster tourism. What does that look like?
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Yeah, it can have, different kind of applications, where people will kind of flood into an area, in response to sort of a devastating event or something that happens there to try and, help and offer support and things. And that will definitely, there's situations and circumstances where that's called for, but
fentanyl
usually to plug into operations like the Red Cross, operations like
no, they traffic kids. What's best is to go to San Francisco and watch, because they have crazy hats, like kind of the Western, like a Zorro hat almost, and they're in the Jazzies and they're on Fent. No, thank you. Tree's wrong. They're all wrong. As always, usual, you only have to listen to me. Thank you. That's the reality. You just do. Disaster tourism actually is. Tree was right. You do show up. You do try to help. And the response to an event, and it's a collapse of San Francisco, disaster tourism.